Hi everyone, this is Deb Tim, a Canadian girl, and today I want to share with you my process in doing a water change on my 150-gallon aquarium. So please stay tuned. I was asked by a YouTube buddy of mine, Wolfman, how I vacuum my sand substrate. Wolfman has a stunning channel and an amazing mixed African cichlid tank full of incredible fish. He just got another aquarium because his fish are getting so big he's going to either have to move some out or rehome some. Well, it's hard for him to part with fish, so he's decided to just get another tank. So in this process, he's decided to try sand substrate. And his concern was how to vacuum it without sucking up all the sand. Well, I thought I would share my water change process with you covering the vacuuming, especially requested by my good friend Wolfman. I will leave a link below that you can say hi to Wolfman, check out his amazing fish, and share some love. Here you see my water change buddy, Ozzy. He thinks he's a help, but he's really not. So let's get to it. I always begin with my 150-gallon aquarium, and I have the water draining now. Fridays I do water changes on my 4 show tanks, beginning with this one. I use a pump attached to my python hose to drain the tank. I have an extra long hose as most often I run it out through the window and directly into our rain barrel. Our summer has been dry, so the water is necessary. I also fill up 5-gallon jugs hubby keeps handy for watering the garden and indoor plants as well. When I think of how my water changing procedure has evolved from dragging buckets to using the python and then now adding a pump, I just shake my head. The pump cuts the time down by at least half. If you don't have an immersible pump like this, I highly recommend that you get one. While the water is draining, I remove the driftwood pieces so I have an easier time vacuuming the substrate. In this aquarium, I have 3 pieces. The large centerpiece, then I have this small piece that's not attached to a rock, and then I have this back here, one that I have attached to a rock. The rocks are pretty heavy, so I don't like to lift them out unless I really have to. I can easily vacuum around the items that remain in the tank without any problem. So I just leave them where they are, although sometimes I'll have to remove the little jugs and clean them up. Now, because this tank is so tall, I stand on a ladder to reach, and I use this rake and just draw it through the substrate to make sure there are no gas pockets forming. It's rare with earth eaters as they really work up the substrate, but I do this also to stir up any waste that will bring it to the surface so that I can vacuum it. So Wolfie, this part's for you. This is my simple vacuum. I do not attach it to my python. This way I have no worries of sand or particles entering my drain. You can affix a net media bag to your python to catch the detritus, but I prefer it this way. Any sand sucked up goes into the pail. I dump the water out, give the sand a quick rinse, and I return it right back to the aquarium. I have to apologize for the glare. It's not a great time to be filming. Hopefully you'll be able to see the vacuum as I suck up the detritus and sand particles. The sand is heavier than the waste and would just fall back into the tank if I took my time. But as you can see, I dig quite deeply into the sand to get a real good cleaning, which is another reason why I do suck up a fair amount of sand. When I just had the geos and clowns in here, I vacuumed this aquarium once a month. But now with the Oscars and silver dollars, I find I have to vacuum weekly. But it's not a chore that I mind, and it's for the benefit of my fish. So I will do pretty much anything I can to make my fish happy. So this is the sand that I sucked up, and I just dumped out the dirty water, and I'm rinsing it with fresh water, swishing my hand through it to get any leftover particles out. Then I'm just going to dump off that water, and then the sand goes right back into my tank. Simple as that. The next job is to clean the inside of the glass of the tank with my sponge and scrubby. I do have a sponge and scrubber on a stick as well, but I prefer to use them only after the tank is all filled and I check if I missed any spots. That's what they're handy for, but I feel I get better control and I have a better pressure on the glass to get a good job done if I do it this way. But this is where I get myself totally soaked. As you can see, I'm not gentle and I splash. There's my trusty ladder, and as you can see, there's only about 25% of the water remaining in the tank. I generally do about 75% water change every week. The geos are very sensitive fish, and they need to have pristine water conditions, and they have to have their pH on target perfectly. So now it's time to get filling. This is a mixture of fresh water and Seacom Safe, the rechlorinator I prefer to use. Seacom Safe is basically the powder form of Seacom Prime. 1 capful of Prime will treat 50 gallons, whereas 1 teaspoon of Safe will treat 300 gallons. As I fill my aquarium with fresh water, I add this water periodically throughout the process. At about the halfway point, I add a couple tablespoons of baking soda just to stabilize my pH level. If you ever have fish gasping for breath down on the substrate following a water change, they are probably suffering pH shock. Using baking soda will combat this. So now everything is back in the aquarium. The fish look happy and it's looking clean. This is the part that I love the most, is seeing the fish afterwards. So the last couple things I do is I wipe down all the black trim on the aquarium and do the glass. There you can see just a little bit of debris still on the sand, but once the geos start flipping through the sand, the filters will pick that up. So I'm not worried about that. I do have to apologize one more time about this crazy glare. But I will not get up in the middle of the night to do a water change for anyone. So here we are. Water change complete. The fish look happy. The water looks pristine. And I just finished doing the African Cichlid Aquarium. And look what I got. I stripped 4 mums. 2 of the mums were holding younger fry that needed to be put in the tumbler. These are actually pretty nice little broods. The first group are yellow lab fry. No surprise there. I seem to get a lot of those. And then the second group are Obi zebra cross. Both of these broods have approximately 35 babies. So those are pretty nice groups. They look very healthy and I'm quite happy. Now follow me down to this end of the tank and you will see the other 2 broods that I stripped. Now these were free swimmers because they were already holding for a couple weeks and I was aware of that. And I placed them in the awesome breeder box that Eric, aka Fishman, made me. These two groups are yellow labs and blue zebras. So they are doing great. You know, when you finish a day of doing water changes, your fish being healthy and happy, you have babies coming along, the day couldn't get any better. So until next time, this is Deb Tim signing out. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a terrific weekend. Just take a moment before you leave and go over to say hi to Wolfman, sub his channel, share some love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.